Siri_bot is here. Saribo
Some
arrive.
customers may have the ability to endure this effect without exhibiting the usual signs of intoxication. Regular drinkers may have a higher tolerance, but this does not indicate that they are not intoxicated. It means that over time, their bodies have learned to control the behaviors that are signs of intoxication. Be mindful that you can become accustomed to the drinking habits of your regular customers and their ability to handle their liquor. Inexperienced drinkers may have a lower tolerance. Customers may have had only 1 or 2 drinks. However, if they are inexperienced drinkers, they may exhibit signs of intoxication. Note, tolerance does not affect a customer's BAC, only their ability to hide the effects of alcohol. Even if a customer has a high tolerance, they're still intoxicated. Their BAC will be beyond the legal limit if they consumed more drinks than their body can absorb.
Bot Rix has successfully joined the channel.
In other words, someone with a high tolerance may hide signs of intoxication, but they're still intoxicated. It is extremely important to count drinks in addition to observing customer behavior.
Not here.
The importance of excellent observation and communication skills is vital to ensuring responsible beverage service policies,
atrocities.
especially the front-of-the-house employees, must observe the behaviors and actions of customers and communicate to their appropriate employees and managers if a customer may be showing signs of. Get these tips on how to handle a customer. Slow use service. If you, server, believe we should slow use alcoholic beverage service to a customer, believe that such action may soon be necessary, inform your manager and your fellow employees, particularly at shift change. Back up fellow employees. Not manager's decision to discontinue service. It's back and such decisions. If you serving customer has been drinking from one area has gone to another, be sure to inform the bartender or server area of any information necessary to ensure the customer is not served, including the number of drinks that the customer has already served. Preventing intoxication is essential to responsible alcohol service. If you have a group, individual who is drinking and not eating, suggestively sell food. High-protein foods containing cheese or beef are some of the best suggestions. Food eaten immediately before drinking will slow down the absorption rate, thus lessening the effects of alcohol. Let us go through some of the key points you must keep in mind to prevent customer intoxication. Click the icon to learn these key points. You can also download this job aid for future use.
I shall make weapons. Boom!
The sisters will be glad to have us back.
Before you proceed, take a few minutes to complete this exercise. Click Next to begin.
The customer comes and sits at the bar area after finishing his meal in the dining room. He orders a beer. What should you do? Refuse service until you get asked the server how many drinks he's had. Carefully observe the customer. If not intoxicated, serve the drink. Let the manager know and serve the drink. Provide the drink, but slow service until you could verify the amount of drinks from the server. What? Refuse service. A group of customers enter the bar. They indicate that they just left an office party where their alcohol was served. For a moment, everybody. You have overheard a Tony Brown customer state that he is dieting and has not eaten. The customer some wine, less than an hour. What should you do? Dude.
Let's head back to the bar for another scenario. Answer the questions that follow and click submit. Click next to start.
A person who looks older than 21, but okay. Hi. What is the best thing to say to help diffuse to control the situation?
If you believe a customer may be approaching the limit of intoxication, service should be discontinued. Inform the manager of your concerns. The manager will be responsible for speaking to the customer and advising them service has been discontinued. If a bartender or server recommends to cut off service to a customer, the manager will support the decision. Please note, decision as important. Stopping service to a customer should not be a financial one. ABI will guarantee a 20% tip to any responsible server. As a customer that being cut off does not to compensate the server or restaurant. ABI depends upon you, judgment, and continual communication with your manager in keeping the customers, your residents, and you safe from the consequences of serving the customer.
Cool.
Once you have notified the manager and they determine not to serve the customer another drink, they will wait until the customer orders the next drink, refusing service. Consider offering the customer food or other non-alcoholic alternatives as you wait for the manager to help buy time for the customer and potentially avoid the need to cut them off from drink service. Do not attempt to cut off service yourself. Inform your manager and allow them to speak with the customer. Manager will make you aware and alert a backup, experienced employee or manager prior to refusing service for safety reasons. You should not discontinue service without prior involvement of the manager. Manager must be immediately notified of your decision and recommendation for drink service to be discontinued. Manager will inform the customer of the need to refuse drink service and avoid being judgmental. They will be calm, friendly, and treat the customer with respect. Click the numbered labels to learn how the manager will approach the customer using drink service. In the event that you and your manager have determined that a customer appears to be intoxicated, manager will use all best efforts to convince the customer not to drive. Click the icon to learn some solutions that the manager may try. You can also download this job aid for future use. When a customer arrives intoxicated, you will handle the situation very similar to the scenario we just discussed when a customer attempts to leave. Here is what you should do to handle a customer who appears to have arrived intoxicated and attempts to order an alcohol beverage. Acknowledge the customer and take the manager of the concern so that they may visit the table before the drink is served. Do not serve alcohol to a customer who enters the restaurant intoxicated. Suggestively sell food and non-alcoholic beverages. Addressing the situation with the customer who appears to be intoxicated upon arrival and then attempts to leave is handled the same way as any other customer attempting to leave after showing signs of intoxication. You must notify your manager and they will then address the customer. Manager may offer to call a cab, not argue with the customer, will not touch or have physical contact with the customer, and if the customer refuses help, the manager will then tell them that they will have to call the police because we are concerned for their safety. Most customers will then accept help. If all else fails and the customer refuses help, manager will not attempt to use physical force to stop them. Manager will immediately notify their backup and manager to call the police and report the situation. Reporting a possible situation after the customer has left may be too late. It is important to try to call the police in time for them to arrive before the customer drives away.
Close range attacks and movement speed of enemies.
A designated driver is a person responsible for driving others and who agrees not to consume any alcohol. It is acceptable to provide complimentary, non-alcoholic beverages for designated drivers. It is always illegal to overserve customers, even if they have a designated driver. There are other risks of overservice beyond drinking and driving, such as violence and alcohol poisoning. All reasonable efforts will be made to avoid situations that may lead to violence. If a customer becomes verbally abusive, hostile, or physically abusive, get a manager involved immediately. Your manager will be required to document all service-related incidents. You may be asked to assist with providing details as needed. Before you proceed, take a few minutes to complete this exercise. Click Next to begin.
Your customer appears intoxicated. You offer to call a cab, but he refuses. He is about to leave. What do you do first, and what do you say to the customer? Saturday night, and the bar is 5 deep. You see two men toward the back who appear to be arguing. Discussion seems to be escalating. What do you do?
We've got another scenario taking place at the bar. Read about the customer's request, then answer the questions that follow and click Submit. Click Next to start. A group has just entered the bar and is having fun, laughing, and talking among themselves. As the bartender approaches and is validating everyone's ID, he overhears the group conversation at the table and realizes they are celebrating a 21st birthday. Then, bartender notices that one member of the party is intoxicated. She is slurring her words, and he hears her say that she can't have another drink. Lumen Brand's employees and managers have the privilege of consuming alcohol duty as customers in the restaurant. An employee or manager can sit at the restaurant and may sit at the table area section. Visiting any other BBI restaurants, the employee or manager may sit at consuming alcohol beverages at any of our locations you to observe principles of our responsible beverage service policy. To learn more about these responsibilities, you can also download this job aid for your use.
Good day. Hello.
I'll put that to good use.
Let's make one last trip to the bar. to observe a scene between the bartender and one of his frequent customers. Answer the questions that follow and click Submit. Click Next to start. It is impossible to predict all types of situations that you will encounter in your restaurant on a day-to-day basis. The following are questions based on possible situations that you may encounter. Click Next to begin.
$15? No?
You have now come to the end of this course on responsible beverage service. You should now be able to be a responsible server, check a customer's age before serving alcohol to them, and prevent intoxication, handle an intoxicated customer, and understand how to handle problem situations. Responsible beverage service is a team responsibility in which your role is a vital one. Be sure you are aware of your responsibilities and your role in responsible beverage service. BBI is committed to ensuring responsible beverage service in all of its restaurants. As a member of BBI, you are expected to know the feel free to ask your manager any questions and download the resources provided by this course to learn more about responsible beverage service. In addition, you may review this course at any time. Click the icon to review the responsible beverage service policies, and if you would like to review any part of this program, you may review it by selecting the topics from the menu on the left. When you are ready, select Exit Course to return to BBIU.
Top viewers streambo.com at Jorism.
Welcome to our online course, Preventing Workplace Harassment, Maintaining a Positive Workplace. In this course, you will learn about our responsibilities to maintain a workplace free of sexual harassment and other forms of workplace harassment. You will also learn free discrimination, retaliation, bullying, abusive behavior. In addition, these types of find the course useful and
Where the fuck am I supposed to go?
in addition, in this course you'll hear scripted interviews with people sharing their true stories of workplace harassment.
No
Hi,
way.
I'm Natalie. I'm Cuban Italian.
Hi, I'm Zhao. I am a 51-year-old black gay male.
My name is Miriam. I'm a
Oh
woman
my
with
God.
disability.
I identify as a male, as an uncle, as a brother, as a friend, as a senior citizen.
I'm a first-generation American.
I'm an 8-year Air Force veteran.
My name is Vincent. I am a dad. I felt like this doesn't really happen to men, and if I say anything, it's not a big deal. But it really was.
What the fuck's a big deal?
This course contains a number of sections which you will take in the shown on the screen. You have to complete the course in one sitting. Exit the course, your points will be saved.
Cool.
This course contains a number of resources which you can access by selecting the resources link at the top of the page. Resources open. For example, if you have questions about the course content, select Questions about Content link. Submit your question.
Eerie.
Accessibility page, you can change your accessibility preferences and receive tips for navigating with a screen reader.
Oh, hey, welcome to our restaurant. I just started here, and this is my first post-shift meeting. We're all supposed to talk about last night's service. Kathy, Catch. That's our manager. Okay, good to see everyone. We're back at it. Let's go over from last night. Let's start with the biggest issues. Rudy, a couple tables mentioned that their orders took too long. What happened?
Oh, sorry. I just got a little overwhelmed during the lunch.
That's what you said last time. Discussed this multiple times. Let's chat after this and come up with a plan to keep you on top of things. Can't have tables waiting that long for their food.
Yeah, dumbass.
How would you classify Kathy's comments to Rudy?
I don't fucking know. Inappropriate.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Welcome to...
How would you classify Kathy's comments to Rudy?
I said inappropriate. How, dude?
Kathy's comments to Rudy harassing behavior.
How long does this take?
Kathy's comments to Rudy and would not be considered evidence of unlawful harassment. As a supervisor, Kathy can require Rudy to meet client commitments. If Rudy does not, Kathy can take the steps he must take to improve his performance. Let's see how the continues.
We're totally booked this week. It's busy season, so I'm really hitting the ground running.
Jeff. Thanks, Ethan. Great job last night, everyone. Just one issue. Jeff. I was on the floor and heard you describing the specials to your tables. People are supposed to want to order them. Aren't selling them well.
Okay, well, I can definitely try to correct that for tonight.
It's not about trying, it's just... The restaurant has a reputation to uphold. We don't have room for amateurs. Kid could explain the specials better than you.
Oh. Oh.
To classify Pedro's comments to Jeff. Pedro's comments to Jeff harassing behavior or not harassing behavior?
Harassing? It's not her. It's inappropriate.
Pedro's comments are inappropriate because rather than making actual statements about Jeff's performance, Pedro is insulting him. Pedro's comments are unacceptable and would likely violate work standards for professional treatment of others.
Cool.
Additionally, Pedro's insulting comments to Jeff could be evidence of abusive conduct, such as bullying.
Oh,
Bullying
hello.
can occur if an employer or employee engages in workplace conduct with malice that a reasonable person would find hostile or offensive and is unrelated to an employee's legitimate business interests, including performance standards. A single instance does not constitute abusive conduct unless it is especially severe or egregious. Examples of abusive conduct including listed on the screen.
That's cool.
Abusive conduct can have extremely negative effects on the victim of the conduct, others in the workplace, and the organization. According to the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health,
Oh god.
negative effects of abusive conduct include those shown on the screen. Any hostile or offensive act could violate workplace policies and lead to corrective action.
Jeff and others on the team should raise any concerns they have about Pedro's actions to Kathy, to Human Resources.
Cool.
Pedro's comments, however, would not be considered evidence of unlawful harassment. While most organizations prohibit abusive conduct or bullying or policies, this harassment law does not protect employees from unfair treatment job. In fact, U.S. Supreme Court said that harassment law is not designed to be a civility. The law only protects employees from unfair or offensive treatment that is related to their gender, race, other protected characteristics. From a legal perspective, workplace harassment is simply one form of workplace discrimination. As you know, it is illegal to refuse to hire someone or fire someone because of their race, gender, other legal protected characteristics. In the same way, it's also illegal to treat employees differently on the job because of such protected characteristics. Unlawful workplace harassment can occur when someone does something that is unwelcome, reasonably offensive, related to a protected characteristic. In this scenario, while Pedro's comments were inappropriate, they likely would not be considered unlawful harassment. They do not appear to relate to Jeff's gender, race, or other protected characteristics.
So what are the protected characteristics? In the United States, protects employees nationwide from harassment and discrimination based on certain individual characteristics. State and local laws may protect additional characteristics. In this exercise, try to name the characteristics that are protected across the U.S. Type the protected characteristic in the box below. Select the Submit button after each one. Each time you are correct, a protected characteristic will appear. You will have 1 minute to guess as many protected characteristics as you can. Don't worry if you don't get them all right. When you're ready, select the Begin button. Congratulations, that was a great effort. Now, let's review all of the legally protected characteristics. You should remember that, in addition to the characteristics shown on the screen, state or local laws could protect other individual characteristics.
That's great, dude.
In addition to the characteristics protected nationwide under federal law, in some states and localities, employees are protected from harassment and discrimination based on characteristics such as those listed on the screen. Also, employees that work in other parts of the world are protected by laws in those jurisdictions. Some jurisdictions outlaw of workplace bullying and harassment, even if these behaviors are not related to a protected characteristic. Finally, remember that workplace policies can go beyond the law and prohibit discrimination and harassment based on other characteristics. Consult by selecting the Link Resources tab. To learn more about statistics where you select the Resources tab, Laws link.
What am I supposed to do?
Any harassing behavior violates workplace policies. An employer can discipline or even fire an employee for any harassing conduct. Let's hear a real-life story from Patrick, a veteran who experienced similar mistreatment because of his military service.
I was in the Air Force for 8 years, but I always knew that I wanted to transition out of the military. So I got into tech. This was my first job outside the Air Force, and I loved everything about it. I was working on a project about 2-3 months ago, and somebody made a comment about like, hey, I'm sure you guys don't do this in the military, so let me show you how it's done. And the way the person said it and the tone in which they said it in, it didn't make me feel comfortable. And I was just one person, but it kept happening.
Wow.
We'd be in meetings and people would say, hey, I know in the military you guys don't use these tools or softwares, and I felt like they didn't trust me to lead certain teams or to lead certain projects, but I know how to do it just as much as everybody else. I feel confident in what I do. I was more than qualified, and I just felt like I shouldn't be looked at differently for serving my country.
Oh God.
Sex discrimination and sexual harassment are both common forms of unlawful workplace discrimination. Select the items on the screen to learn more about the definition of both terms.
How about no?
Sex discrimination includes any type of violence motivated by a person's gender or sex. Courts have ruled that sex discrimination can include discrimination based on pregnancy, sexual orientation, and gender identity expression. Sex discrimination can include gender stereotyping, which includes assumptions about a person's appearance or behavior, gender roles, gender expression, gender identity, or inability to perform certain kinds of work based on a myth, social expectation, generalization about the individual's gender or sex. Sexual harassment is one form of illegal sex discrimination. Sexual harassment consists of unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other offensive, visual, physical conduct that is of a sexual nature based on a person's gender. Beyond violating our policies, sexual harassment can violate the law. Such conduct is either explicitly or implicitly a term or condition of employment. Submission to or rejection of such conduct is used as the basis for employment decisions affecting an individual's employment. Such conduct has the purpose or effect of unreasonable interfering with an individual's work performance, creating an intimidating, hostile, offensive work environment, even if the complaining individual is not the intended target of sexual harassment.
No one cares.
And our policies prohibit not just harassment and discrimination based on sex, but also harassment and discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity and expression.
My God.
Sexual orientation discrimination can occur in the workplace when an employee is treated differently and experiences a negative employment action, harassment, or denial of benefits because of their actual or perceived sexual orientation. Discrimination and harassment based on sexual orientation violates federal law, as it is a form of sex discrimination. Calling a coworker derogatory names or telling sexual jokes based on their sexual orientation constitutes sexual orientation harassment. Additionally, if you are passed over for a promotion because of your sexual orientation, that is an example of sexual orientation discrimination. Sexual harassment includes harassment on the basis of gender identity, including how that identity is expressed. Intentional and repeated use of a noun consistent with a person's gender identity, sometimes called misgendering, could contribute to an unlawful hostile work environment. Similarly, offensive or objectionable towards a person because they do not present in a way that would stereotypically be associated with gender could contribute to an unlawful hostile work environment.
Oh, shut the fuck up, bro. Try me, motherfucker. United States of America. Lick my balls. You'll never send me to jail over that. Mispronouncing somebody. Freedom of speech, bitch.
In this section, you will engage in conversations with co-workers Zeke and Tim. question they ask, you will try to response. If you select the proper response, you will receive one, which will be shown on the scoreboard portion of the screen. Use to gain as many points as possible.
Choose the correct answer for every question they ask. What?
These events are a great way to celebrate the end of another successful year. It's happy and it's a chance to connect with people and keep this place running.
These events are always fun. For me, it's about seeing the people who make the restaurant special. Zeke's been here for years, and I'm always looking forward to seeing him. I'm gonna say hi.
Didn't know she'd be here tonight. Eva, hey, good to see you.
Too. It's been a while. I missed you when I came by for lunch last week.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Brought up with some side work in the back.
Well, I'm sure you want to celebrate with your coworkers, but we should catch up outside the restaurant sometime. Speaking of, don't you love this band?
Do.
They're playing next Friday, and I just happen to have 2 tickets. They're really good seats.
Nice.
Think about it, and let me know.
I thought I made it clear the last couple of times that I didn't want to. What am I supposed to do here?
Fucking don't be a pussy. I don't know what to tell you.
Should you tell Zeke?
But being a pussy, you're not allowed to go out on a date with an investor who is sexually harassing you. You should report her right away. You should talk to your supervisor about this. What? None of those. That's so cringe.
This scenario, Zeke is uncomfortable being asked out by the investor Eva. Should probably speak to a supervisor. The investor's request for a date isn't by itself necessarily sexual harassment. Zeke is not interested in going out with Eva. He should not go out with her.
Okay.
My manager's back there. I'm gonna go get his advice. Hey, so sorry to interrupt. Liam, you got a sec?
Yeah, sure.
Join the party? Oh yeah, having a blast. But I just ran into Eva and she asked me to see a band with her this weekend.
Great. What's the issue?
It seems like it would be a date. And she's asked me out a couple times before. I'm just not interested in her.
Zeke, you know that she's the reason this place is still running, right? Besides, do worse.
Sure, but
It's just a concert. She's one of our biggest investors, and I know the owner's really valuable. Turning her down, not be a great look this close to end of your bonuses.
Oh.
See the problem?
Oh my god.
If he came to you for advice, what should you tell Zeke?
Go on a date with being a pussy? Inappropriate layman is not sexually harassing you. You should not go on a date. You could report them to you. Do a bonus.
Zeke should contact HR right away for guidance. I am pressuring Zeke to go on a date with the investor Eva would certainly violate our sexual harassment policies, and it could constitute sexual harassment. appears that Liam is threatening to penalize Zeke if he rejects a sexual advance from the investor. This conduct may be considered often as for that harassment, even though Liam didn't directly Zeke to go date, implied he might receive a bonus or that his bonus would be impacted. Liam put pressure on Zeke to go on a date. Should pressure another to put up with unwelcome sexual advances from anyone. Pressure another to go on a date with anyone else. Suggest that not a date will result in negative job action. Suggest that going on a date in a benefit such as a promotion. Zeke should not wait to contact HR until he sees whether Liam gives him a bonus. Liam has violated sexual harassment policy, conditioning employment on Zeke going along with sexual advances. This in itself constitutes sexual harassment. If Liam gives Zeke the bonus, in Liam's actions would meet our harassment policy, even if Zeke decided to go and received a bonus.
It is an honor to serve you.
Following scenario, Tim is a supervisor in a different department.
Hey, can I run something by you? I haven't told anyone else yet. I've been dating Kelly. You know, she's a server at our location across town. Been together for a few months now. She's really amazing and things have been going so well. And yesterday I found out that she's being transferred here because of staffing changes, so I'll technically be her manager at this restaurant. What do you think I should do?
Either you or her are going.
What should you say to Tim?
This could be a conflict of interest. You got to report this to HR right away.
Supervisors pursuing engaging in romantic relationships with direct reports can be problematic. Supervisor asks a direct report, saying they are interested. Similarly, since Kelly Tim transfer, she may not be telling him that she's not interested in continuing the relationship. Romantic relationship between the supervisor and the director creates a potential conflict of interest. Because of this, the employers limit supervisors from dating their direct reports. Supervisors who are in a relationship with a direct report, considering entering into a relationship, should immediately contact HR so that steps can be taken to ensure conflicts of interest can be avoided.
Cool.
Congratulations on completing the exercise. Your score is shown on the screen.
Are we done? Hostile
In the
environment.
following scenario, are having a celebration for Stan. He's transferring to a different office.
Wow, I have to say, I'm touched. 10 years at this office. I'm really gonna miss you all.
Oh, we're gonna miss you too.
You know, as a funny guy around here, I really should leave you with my best jokes.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay, you a redhead and a veteran have in common. Feel
Right.
with me, here it gets good.
Honestly, Stan's hilarious. It's too bad he's transferring to another office. I miss his humor around.
Pretty good, huh?
The entire joke Stan told appeared to involve mostly topics. The law nor these policies are meant to prevent people from telling jokes or having fun at work. How do you know if a joke crosses the line into harassing behavior? We know that Krish was not offended by the joke. In fact, he thought it was funny. If Stan had told the joke only to Krish and no one ever heard it, the joke would not have been considered harassing. So based on Krish's reaction, do you think Stan should still be careful about telling jokes related to gender, veteran status,
Oh,
or
God.
other protected characteristics at work?
What about
course, he should.
what about the
As
white
such
man?
comments could
Is
still
white man
violate other
protected?
workplace policies for professional behavior. At the moment that Stan told the joke, everyone, what do you think the other people are thinking? Select
Nothing.
next to find out.
Oh God, I don't fucking know. Who cares?
Pretty good, huh?
Can't believe you just said that. It's honestly so unprofessional. Time.
Oh God, a Karen.
Renata's reaction illustrates that you can't always tell from someone's outward response whether or not come to the joke. Even though Renata smiled at the joke, she was actually offended.
Oh
People may
God.
not voice their objections to a
I'm offended.
actually offended.
Oh God.
What do a redhead, monk, and a veteran have in common? Bear with me here. It's good.
Hey, are you hearing this? I guess he's just trying to be funny, but I don't think it is. She'll find it pretty offensive.
Oh God.
Lucy's reaction demonstrates that you can't always be sure who to hear comments you make at work. Lucy only overheard Stan's joke, and Stan did not tell it to her directly. The joke could be considered harassing to Lucy. Before making a comment that could be risky, ask yourself,
Harassing
is
to
the comment
Lucy.
sexually explicit or derogatory? Do you know the listeners and what they find offensive? Could others besides your intended listeners
Good.
hear the comment and be offended? When in doubt, don't make the comment.
Say whatever the fuck I want. I live in America, bitch. Like Tate.
Verbal harassment can happen in other contexts besides telling a joke. Let's watch the following scenario.
Thank you so much. So, must be getting really excited for the baby to come. I am. There is still a ton of getting ready to do though. We just bought the monitor. Oh, and I finally decided on a breast pump. So that's done at least.
You're gonna pump like that to work?
Planning on it.
Do you think you'll have time for that? If you're planning to pump every couple of hours, you just don't want people to think that it's slowing you down.
I appreciate the concern, but I don't think it
Of course. Sorry, I was only trying to help.
Big damage. He's fucking doing more damage than me now. What the fuck? Carry me, bitch.
Could Gemma's comments contribute to a hostile work environment?
Hostile?
Gemma's comments could contribute to a hostile work environment. Harassment on the basis of sex includes harassment related to pregnancy, childbirth, medical conditions, including lactation. Conditions related to pregnancy and childbirth include miscarriage, postpartum depression, preeclampsia, gestational diabetes, and edema. Under the Federal Protecting Urgent Maternal Protections for Nursing Mothers Act, nursing
Oh my
workers
God.
nationwide, entitled to reasonable break time and a private space to pump out work for up to 1 year. Child's Gemma may have been trying to be helpful. Comments implied that by taking breaks to pump, Mallory would be neglecting her job responsibilities. She worked.
It didn't start off with just offering massages or asking for massages. He was friendly at the beginning.
The comments about my outfits was a way to sort of like get closer to me and say inappropriate things and like touch me and like invade my physical space. His arm would be really close to my chest area and I would instantly freeze up and clench up and just feel super uncomfortable. Like, you know, first you make friendly comments from the side and then there's an element of touch at the same time. He didn't touch me specifically on my body, but I feel like he got so close to that boundary to where he may as well have touched me at that point.
There's a boundary that is being crossed when you physically touch someone in that way, and I don't think you should do that at work.
Okay, cool.
visual materials can contribute to a hostile work environment. This is true even if the offensive material is displayed on a personal electronic device that he owns and brings into the workplace. So, employees should be aware that discipline terminated for posting offensive material online, even if they post the material outside of the workplace on their own personal time. Now, let's hear from Denise.
I gotta share this with you. My spouse sent me a hilarious meme. Some really funny stereotypes about boomers. It cracked me up. So I texted it to a group chat I've got with some of my work friends in the kitchen. I get a kick out of it too. I love a good joke, and I'm a proud boomer. I know I'm not the only sense of humor.
Okay.
Denise sharing this meme with contribute to hostile.
Oh God, hostile.
If the meme Denise's spouse sent her is derogatory, 40 to protect sticks, Denise should not text the meme to her coworkers. Even if Denise is a boomer, is not offended by the meme, which may be reasonably offended. So it doesn't matter whether the recipients of the text message are 40 years old or derogatory materials can affect these, just those that share the same protected characteristic. So it doesn't matter whether Denise's coworkers were it. Received her text. Now, let's consider the scenario.
Here you go. Hey, great game, Eli. Thanks. See you at the office Monday. You bet. Cartel, you crushed it with that three-pointer at the end, even in the rain. Thanks, man. See you at work. Later. You're gonna miss next week's game?
Yeah, you've seen how those guys have been going after business that should be mine. You need to put in the hours just to stay level. Honestly, that's too true. That's pretty funny. Agree 100%.
Dude.
Can't make it next week. The new sales guys I told you about are so greedy. They're trying to steal my accounts. Need to hustle, or they're gonna eat up the whole bonus pool. You know how they are, man. They're always chasing the dollar.
What are you talking about?
What?
Or take disciplinary action against Luke based on his actions.
I don't even know what happened.
Conduct outside of the workplace, even on purely personal time, can sometimes contribute to a hostile work environment. Violating policies on the use of social media. First Amendment protects employees from governmental infringement on free speech, which may take disciplinary action against employees. posting on social media sites when the speech violates inappropriate policy, such as a harassment prevention policy.
You know what I should do? I should check and see what stats I need for all this shit. Just need to be 45 for that, 25 for that, 22 for that. I'm not gonna wear that. Not gonna wear that. I am gonna wear this later. An additional curse. Additional revise. Dude, what is that? Big res.
Let's revisit a scenario that where an employee stand joke gender, and veterans at work. Let's imagine that you also listening to Stan's joke. What would you have done? Spoken up.
Laughed.
Would you have reported the incident? Often, don't speak up because of a phenomenon called the bystander effect, which indicates that people are less likely to object to or report inappropriate conduct when others also do the same misconduct. First, when others are around, you look at their reactions to determine if Stan's joke was as bad as you thought it was. Given that others were smiling and laughing, even though they may have been offended, they incorrectly assume that they approved of Stan's joke. Second, sure that others were a diffusion of responsibility. That is, you may feel it's not necessary for you to do anything. You assume that others will take action. Of course, if no one acts, Stan may just assume that his jokes are appropriate. At the least, he will not be in trouble for continuing to tell them. So, you may assume that they can engage in similar that it will be accepted. Yes. To maintain a place, it's important that everyone is responsible for speaking against workplace harassment and other inappropriate behavior. Basically, you see something and you should say something.
Like my balls.
Fitness, workplace harassment, behavior. There are 4 different approaches you can take to de-escalate the situation. These are known as the 4 Ds: direct, distract, delegate, delay. Let's see one possible way Renata could use the 4 Ds when she realizes Stan is about to tell an joke.
Well, you know what? It's time for cupcakes. Here you go, Stan. Enjoy.
Renata decided to stop Stan from telling the joke. This is an example of distract and is a good reminder that action doesn't always have to be dramatic. That is, she didn't have to scold Stan in front of others for telling the inappropriate joke. Instead, sometimes interventions are more subtle. The goal of distracting is simply draw attention away from the situation to stop the misconduct in the work. There's no one right way to intervene, so Renata could use any of them in this situation. Multiple of them. Let's see it different. This time, the moment had passed.
Thanks again for getting the cupcakes, Renata.
Can I talk to you for a second?
Sure.
Sure you weren't trying to be offensive. The joke you told earlier, the wrong. Just want to let you know. So, smooth things over for you.
This version of the story, not a delayed intervention until she could speak with Stan privately. If you don't feel intervening and you have a good relationship with a person who is acting inappropriately, this can be a great way to address the situation. Of course, sometimes you objecting directly to the person, especially if the person is in a position of authority. If you don't feel comfortable intervening, you should intervene. Jar of the incident. Sometimes the need for standard arises outside of the place. Let's hear from Adam about the experience he had.
I was at a conference for work with a bunch of other employees, and we were all fairly new. And the day was over, a bunch of us were heading up in the elevator to call it a night. And one of my new colleagues made a casual remark about, oh, I'm going to go have a service party. Another of my new colleagues immediately said, that sounds great. I will join. What's your room number? Immediately, everyone else in the elevator, very uncomfortable because this was a strange, awkward thing to say. But what's worse was the guy kept at it and just kept saying, seriously, what's the room number? Let's hang out. What's the room number? And eventually, just to appease him, she did say the room number. But this concerned me a lot because something worse could now potentially occur. So at that point, for those reasons, I just kind of casually said, maybe she doesn't want to announce her room number in front of a crowded elevator, dude. She doesn't want any of us knowing what her room number is, you know. So the next day I was at lunch with my female colleague, and I thought to mention, hey, that was pretty strange. She said, my God, yes, and that wasn't the end of it. I came and knocked on my door that night. He wheedled his way into her room while she tried to keep it professional and get him back out of the room until he, reluctantly took the hint and left. That in turn triggered my concern. I did say, I want you to know, I and everybody else noticed this person's behavior. So don't think it's just you. I just think matters of harassment is very important for third parties who have that added objectivity to say, yeah, not making it up, not being sensitive. I felt it was perfectly reasonable at this point for me to have a word with HR. My experience was that HR handled it well. Said, hello, I have a concern, I'm bringing it to your attention, and that seemed to be their attitude as well. Thank you for telling us. We are concerned and we treat this stuff seriously, and we will take it from here.
Bunch of pussies. Alright, is this shit over with?
Is a menu of options you can choose from. You don't have to choose just one. There isn't just one method to use every intervention to his colleague, he checked in with her. And finally, he delegated. Sent it to a jar. If you know it's harassing or and to address it, so that you do something to stop.
You dodge first.
Now let's hear from Zhao about about an experience he had at work.
I used to have a job at a college teaching at night. I drove, and this new colleague didn't have a car, so I offered to give a ride. So we went a little bit beyond like idle chat. We talked about what happened in during the day. The relationship was pretty collegial. The relationship was, you know, workplace kind of relationship. After maybe a month and a half of dropping her off and giving these rides to her, she started texting me messages about how she was falling in love with me. And from the first message I told her, listen, I appreciate that, but this is not good. We work together, and you know that I'm not interested. The next text messages were aggressive, and she started saying that she had fallen in love with me, that she was in love with me, that we were soulmates. She knew I was gay, and it made me very uncomfortable. She ignored the fact that I had asked for her to step back and for her to respect the fact that I was not interested. And it progressed to the point where after the 10th message, when I had told her to please stop, I felt really threatened by the situation and vulnerable. And it shocked me. I wasn't expecting it to have that effect on me.
I expected that, because you're a faggot. What the fuck just happened? An error occurred. What the fuck, dude? What the hell? Bro, you better not make me do this all over.
Now let's hear from Zhao. Experience he had.
I used to have a job at a college teaching at night. I drove, and this new colleague didn't have a car, so I offered to give a ride. So we went a little bit beyond like idle chat. We talked about what happened in during the day. The relationship was collegial. The relationship was, you know, workplace kind of relationship. After maybe a month and a half of dropping her off and giving these rides to her, she started texting me messages about how she was falling in love with me. And from the first message I told her, listen, I appreciate that, but this is not cool. We work together, and you know that I'm not interested. The next text messages were aggressive, and she started saying that she had fallen in love with me, that she was in love with me, that we were soulmates. She knew I was gay, and it made me very uncomfortable when she ignored the fact that I had asked for her to step back and for her to respect the fact that I was not interested. And it progressed to the point where after the 10th message, when I had told her to please stop, I felt really threatened by the situation and vulnerable. And it shocked me. I wasn't expecting it to have that effect on me.
If Zhao asked for your advice, what did you tell him to do?
Grow a pair, quit being a faggot. I mean, that does sound like some stage 5 clinger shit. Tell him to run for the hills.
Zhao should promptly report his concerns to HR. Zhao did raise the issue with his colleague, and her conduct didn't stop. seemed to get worse, so it's unlikely that speaking to her again will be effective. And it doesn't matter that Zhao offered or was friendly with his coworker at first. He can and should report his concerns to HR. Now let's hear from Zhao about how he addressed his concerns.
Once I contacted HR, they were very proactive. They focused on resolution, on how they could protect me from harm and how they could stop her from progressing. Told me what to do, what I needed to do, which was not to engage. So after HR talked to her, I progressively felt better and safer. I believe that her behavior really changed once she got notification that she was not getting rehired. She stopped sending me the texts, and I was very satisfied with the course of action that HR took. And since that resolved the issue, I was actually fine.
Little pussy bitch.
In the following scenario, asks for your advice on how to handle the situation at work.
Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?
No.
I'm a bit lost on what to do. Something at work is bothering me. Russ, one of my coworkers, has a habit of saying inappropriate things. Yesterday after my shift, I was telling him about a customer I waited on. His eyes, he said he doesn't trust Muslim people. It really caught me off guard. I didn't say anything at the moment because I was just in shock. Thinking about
I don't either.
HR, but I'm worried he'll figure out it was me.
God.
What should you tell Mia? The employer tried to take into account a harassment victim's wishes. The employer has an obligation under the law to promptly investigate harassment allegations, especially if the alleged conduct is ongoing and harm other people. The employer will likely need to look into it. To learn how to report any concerns about harassment, discrimination, retaliation to your employer, select the button on the screen to proceed.
Do I have to? I don't care anymore.
In addition to or instead of reporting concerns about harassment, discrimination, retaliation to their employers, employees also have the right to file charges with certain government agencies, including the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and state and local agencies.
Good day. It is an honor to serve you.
Serve me then, bitch.
Before moving forward, please select the state where you. If you prefer in multiple states, select each state. This will open in another window the equal opportunity laws for your state. You must review the relevant information that applies to where you work. This information will include protected characteristics, what a file compliance with external agencies, and potential remedy. If you are a supervisor, you may also want to review this information in the states where your work. Then, let's return to this page and continue with the course.
Okay. Now what?
In the following scenario, Finn discusses a concern that they have about their supervisor, Karina.
Hey, can I get your opinion on something? I'm having issues with our GM, Rena. It started a few months ago when she began imitating my British coworker Simon during staff meetings. People laughed, but I decided to report it to HR after hearing it a few times. HR interviewed both Simon and me. I told them what I had observed, and turns out that Simon wasn't offended at all. Apparently, he and Karina are good friends, but HR still said it was inappropriate to be making fun of someone's accent at work because even if her imitation didn't offend Simon, it could offend someone else.
Jesus Christ!
I had to go to sensitivity training.
Oh!
And Karina stopped doing the impressions, at least around me. But now, I'm pretty sure Karina knows I reported her. At first, she kept me on my regular shifts, and I received the holiday bonus I was expecting. But then, behavior changed. Since I reported the Simon thing, she no longer calls on me during staff meetings or even says hi to me at the restaurant. She still answers my questions, but always seems annoyed now.
Yeah, I would be too.
She told me that I need to start keeping a log showing that I did my side work. No one else has to do this, just me.
It could be considered evidence of unlawful retaliation. You should note that Quinn is protected from retaliation, even if the investigation were to find that Karina had not committed harassment. As long as Quinn made the complaint in good faith, they are protected from retaliation. All employees are protected from retaliation for saying or reporting in good faith a concern about harassment or discrimination, filing a claim or charge in good faith, or encouraging another employee to file a claim or charge in good faith relating to harassment or discrimination, testifying, assisting, participating in an investigation, proceeding, or hearing related to harassment or discrimination.
Cool, is this over yet?
3 months later, Karina comes to you and asks for your advice.
As you know, HR investigated me a few months ago for imitating Simon's accent. And someone else, but pretty sure Quinn reported me. Since then, I've been very professional around Quinn. Treated them the same as always. Here's the issue. I've been been showing up recently. Got more than a few orders wrong. It's like they're not really much effort with their tables. I mentioned these concerns to Quinn, but the situation hasn't improved. It's like they've just checked out. Considering giving them a but that if I do, it'll look like I'm retaliating against them. What should I do?
Should you tell Karina? Karina has expressed concerns about Quinn's work. If Karina's concerns are true, as a supervisor, she may take corrective action to address Quinn's performance issues. However, because of the sensitivity of the situation, Karina should contact HR to seek guidance on how to proceed.
Ah, slow as balls.
In the following scenario, let's hear from Zuri. Zuri has worked in the same position for the last 3 years and has never been disciplined for any misconduct.
So my friend Lila and I have worked together for a few years. Both had some issues getting pregnant and really bonded over that experience. But I had my baby 2 years ago, and Lila's pregnant now, which is super exciting. We joke around a lot about pregnant people being scatterbrained. When I was pregnant, I know I was distracted. Anyway, a few weeks ago, I couldn't find the new menu, so I joked that I'd help find it. And she's basically working with half a brain till the baby comes. I totally meant it as a joke. She didn't laugh, and I think she may have complained to HR about what I said. Now I'm worried I could get in trouble.
Could Zuri be disciplined for the comment she made? Zuri could be disciplined for making a single derogatory comment about people if Lila found the comment offensive.
Oh,
Even
God.
though Zuri and Lila have joked around about pregnant people in the past, Zuri's comment could be considered harassment based on pregnancy. Any harassing behavior violates workplace policies and can result in discipline. If an employer learns that an employee is committing harassing conduct, the employer must promptly take corrective action designed to stop the harassment and deter future harassment by the same offender. Others. The employer can impose discipline, including anything or determination of employment. U.S. federal law protects both employees and applicants for employment from harassment or discrimination. In some states and localities, also protects contractors, interns, and other types of workers. Under certain circumstances, an employee who suffers harassment can bring legal action not only against the employer, but also against the person who committed the harassment. In addition, some jurisdictions make it illegal to commit workplace harassment to help, encourage, or force someone else to commit harassment. In some circumstances, harassment may violate criminal laws as well. For example, harassment that involves physical assault or battery, or sexual assault, may be prosecuted criminally.
Oh, is this over yet?
In this section, you read our organizational policy pertaining to workplace harassment, discrimination, and retaliation. Once you have read the policy, please return to this page to continue in the course. Then certify that you understand. Right by the policy. You select the button on the screen to open the policy.
Yep. Why does it keep logging me out? What? I don't... Dude, I'm done with this shit. I don't care. Fuck you. I'm done. I'm done with the bullshit.
Should see. I like that. I'm glad that he's setting that up. Now, I think the one chance he has here is setting up like a 9-factory push as quickly as possible. Like, he should be trying to leave his base within 3 minutes. But I guess we'll see. You know, the game is at kind of a weird pace right now due to all the harassment that's happened, all the units that have been lost, and he's still a little bit low on factors with only 5.
Oh, this is hilarious.
Saw the shuttle over those mines. Looks like he did. We can have the
This is fucking hilarious.
So this is a pretty common way to pry open a 3 base. Terran is to get one shuttle full of zealots and the other full of reavers, and you try to fly into the main, and as they go back to save it, you run up with your dragoons and pounce on the 3rd base. But looks like the shuttle with the zealots ticked off. I don't think that was the reaver shuttle. And that's not the end of the world for Protoss, but it stops what he was planning. And, you know, Best is on 4 bases right now. So he's going to continue to grow, but basically a moment where this could have been a big crescendo of a move is gone away. And we're going to be back to macroing. By the way, it's been 3 gates up to 4 bases, which is really unusual. You just never really see that. Someone sitting on 3 gates and then going, all right, time for my 4th. But I think he's playing it pretty safely. I think when you get the Reaver, you can kind of play a tighter game and use the Shuttle Reaver to basically take a couple fights you wouldn't normally be able to take with just Dragoons on their own. And we're going to see a huge gate. In fact, we already are seeing a huge gateway explosion here on the mini-map. As he's filling that out with the extra minerals that are coming in. There it is. Wow.
Yeah, damn. That's crazy. He's adding like 8 gates right now. I like that, though, because, you know, when your opponent is like spending so many vultures harassing you, you can kind of like not worry about the push. It's just the push would be so weak at this point. But Leda is actually setting up a game that I didn't quite expect. It wasn't surprising. The amount of harassment hasn't been surprising, nor has the Wraiths actually shutting down that shuttle play, which was awesome. That was so good to see. That was the best move of the game so far. But he actually has his science facility and is getting 2-1 right now, which is not very common in the meta in general. So that is going to give him a stronger later portion of this game. And he is adding some factories. So I'm pretty excited about what we're seeing here from Leda. Like, this is some of his stronger macro play that I've seen, and it kind of fits into the style that he uses too.
We've casted so many games of Leda, and I got to say, I mean, he's playing great. He looks like an extremely strong player. I think Best is still steadily in the lead here. By the way, Best went for a pretty cautious endgame composition based off of where he went with the shuttle speed and the Reaver. He basically teched into that, is racing to max out, and behind it he's going to have 1 Robo with Templars. So he can basically make a lot of Templars, pick them up in shuttles, storm, and try to play keep away Protoss, basically.
Well, that is a style he's very good at. It's a very good map, and he macros so fast. So I definitely don't mind him just running around with giant armies. You can see how he's kind of splitting them right now. He'll probably poke the sides a little bit. And of course, he is getting that 5th base set up, which is so important. Is Leda going to set up the 4th base? It looks like he's getting ready for it, Tasteless. And this is where I start to get a little bit nervous for him, because he's playing a great game. He's definitely improved his macro play a lot. In fact, those are some of my favorite YouTube coaching videos I've ever seen, is Light teaching Leda about later game macro in Terran vs. Protoss. Because he's always kind of been weak at that. And like a few years ago, Light was helping him out with it, and I know he's been working on it, but like, it's hard to imagine Leda here landing this command center, playing the big macro game and outdoing Best.
Ooh, nice job here with the Zealots driving this out. We did see a second Robo go down. And this is modern, by the way. I remember when I saw people do this, I thought, like, is this for real? Is this the way the game's going to be played? But the idea is, after you have speed shuttles and Templars, you just get you have 2 Robos, you get a lot of observers, a lot of shuttles, and you're dropping and storming everywhere. You can be storming the army, you can be storming the workers, you can storm one vulture if you see it out there. I mean, you just storm everything, and just keep powering up into 3-3. It's a really good way to play. And, you know, it's a little bit contradictory to what we see with Best normally in a lot of his games. Because Best is famous for basically being a busting Terran. So he's been able to drive his army into positions better than basically anybody else in the whole world right now. But I think because this game was so scrappy and so tight early on, he didn't feel comfortable doing that. So he's going to go for a kind of a burnout style of play, where you're storming the army, you're whittling them down, you're upgrading heavily yourself, and you're going to go into both of the mains here, the top left and eventually the bottom right.
We should mention no damage has been dealt to Leda yet this game. Now this drop, maybe he gets some, but like right now the SCVs, there you go, finally gets a storm on the SCVs, but actually doesn't even get that much. And this is just going to be held by Leda. Not a bad idea, that push, but Leda holds that pretty easily. Like, this is maybe the least damage I've seen a Protoss do to Terran in a 16-minute game like this. You know, normally you get, like, you get the shuttles in, but he caught the first ones with the Wraiths. The defense of Leda has been godly here this game.
Yeah, you know, I don't think that this is losing for Best right now, but this is becoming a problem. You know, Terran on this 4th base, you're not going to break this. In fact, I can't even believe he's going to try to do this. He's going to come in here, he's going to try to blanket some storms down here. Actually, dude, that was pretty sick. Unfortunately, it doesn't kill anything because tanks take more than 1 storm to kill. So if he repairs that, I mean, that's a lot more lost. But, you know, here's the problem. Terran has 9 o'clock. Terran's going to take 6 o'clock. Now, if you get 6 o'clock and you secure that, you really can't kill any of the positions Terran in. Excuse me, Terran is in. And Terran on 5 bases, even though Protoss could take both the top left main and the bottom right main, dude, it's really hard to win. You basically never want to let them get onto 5 bases. The game has to go on for so long, especially if you're going to have them line out before you can beat them. And we see games where, like, even people like Bisu get the whole map, and they're against somebody. I think it was Light specifically that we saw him do this against. Light was on 5 bases and basically outlasted Protoss on the entire map. So this is really bad for Best. The fact that he only just now is transferring probes up here, which is going to get punished by these vultures. The fact that the bottom right is vacant, and there are no Protoss bases and no gateways there is really bad too. And I think for the first time in this game, I am going to say I think Leda can win this game and probably should win this game based off this position. He is playing much better than Best.
It's actually really amazing to see because, you know, I think my analysis of his style and his strengths historically was accurate, as accurate as I can be, because I've seen like a million Leda games, but this is literally the best macro game I've ever seen out of him. You're right, and we've been watching this guy since like 2007. So, I mean, he's been around forever. Now, Best coming in with these shuttles, but there's like no SCVs here even. And now Leda is finally doing a big push. Now, this is where things could go wrong if we get really great Psy Storms and everything is clumped up. But that army looks unbelievably good. +3, +1 upgrades.
Oh my God! What am I saying?
That's crazy. That was a bit of a flub there from Best. He really needed to pull those back and stall that army out a little bit from going into the main. He's going to lose this natural instantly, and now he could have had like 8 Dragoons in the main, like slowing it down, and now that is gone. I don't know that he can break that army up there, but can he counterattack? There's so many mines, so many turrets. What a difficult position here.
So. I mean, he's going to try to drop over here. Maybe this will work. You can treat the mass shuttles like they're an arbiter and just unload stuff over here. But the problem is that, you know, there's been basically no real tank kills most of this game. Which means the Terran army is insanely strong. A lot of times you're trying to whittle tanks down throughout the entirety of a PvT to try to win the game from there. And, you know, first of all, the top left is going to fall. I don't think there's any universe where Protoss can save this, which is going to knock Best right now onto 4 functional bases. To latest 4 functional bases in a game where we're about to hit the 20-minute marker. So this is really bad. And this is an insane upset. I'm not saying it's over, but man, I think the writing's on the wall here. Best is doing, I think the best job he can at this point in time in the game, but he kind of let this whole game get very out of hand, which is funny to say because I think Best has generally been one of the best players in the whole world at kind of taking the lead in the TVP or the PvT dance, so to speak. It basically kind of dictating how the matchup you know, develops. But Leda has probably one of the easiest late games I've ever seen in a TVP right now.
Yeah.
Like, Protoss, less army. And remember, like, you know, Leda's got a ton of bases. He can remake stuff. I don't even want to know how many tanks this guy has. He must have, like, 30 tanks or something. Like,
he has a lot. Like the style he played, especially like you said, normally you whittle down tanks throughout the game, but Best basically never attacked. And Leda was vulture harassing the whole game. If you just consistently vulture harass, you're trading out vultures and you just keep on making rounds of vultures and tanks. And overall, like your tank count goes up. Like that's like winning TVP. If you can play a game that looks like that, you feel fantastic as Terran when you're the one deciding to lose units and their vultures specifically. Wow, it really is the best game I've seen from Leda ever in this matchup. He has such a strong army. His upgrades are absolutely ridiculous. Now, to be fair, he's almost down to 1 mining base. Okay, he's got good bank. Everything looks really good for him right now. He definitely is ahead of Best. There is still comeback potential here for Best. Best is actually very good at comebacks, even when he gets behind. He stays calm and he tries to do the best he can with his units. And I've seen him come back from positions like this occasionally. But look at that tank count. That's stupid. This is like the most tanks I've ever seen in a PvP. No one ever gets that many.
The problem, too, is that, like, when you have this many tanks, you can basically snake them out through the entire map. You know, a lot of times, you know, let's say you have 10 tanks in your army, right? And then you've got all these vultures around it. Well, you can only go so far on the map. So the idea for the Protoss is between Templars and shuttles, you kind of sprinkle a few swarms down, run away, and then wait for them to move a little bit further forward and then do it again. I think that right now he could actually... Well, hold on a second. Here we go. I don't have to think anymore. This is just he's going to unload this over here. Zealots and Templars are coming down. Everything's unsieged. Remember, these are 3-2 tanks right now. And I think it's possible for Terran to maybe even hold this. Yeah, I was going to say without even needing to get siege mode up here. Notice that Best is at 121 supply and Late is already spiking back up to 165. And this is the problem, is that when you don't have the other 2 mains, you can't refill your army anywhere near as fast.
If you don't have 5 bases as Protoss, it's really hard to remax. But you know what? Best just took 2 amazing engagements. He killed a lot of those siege tanks. He waited for the right moment. This is also, like, you can actually even tell by the player cam. Notice how Lada's is jiggling. He's got a lot of adrenaline right now. Like, he's like bouncing his knee or whatever. And Best is cool as a cucumber. Even though he's kind of screwed in this game, he waited, he saw the tanks on siege, and he immediately jumped on them and stormed the hell out of them. And even though Leda is absolutely still winning and I expect him to win, like, Best is doing everything in his power to try to come back here.
Well, let's talk about how Best could win this. All the other bases Leda has 6 o'clock is a pretty easy base to secure, but we will be in a game where, even though Best is in a pretty big deficit, you know, it's just one base. Like, let's say he gets a crazy Psystorm drop-off on the 6 o'clock base. He's going to kill pretty much all the SCVs in the game. The problem, though, is that Best just doesn't have a big army. I don't think he even has a lot of probes either, by the way. Like, his income is going up pretty slowly. It's been vulture punished the entire game. So Best is going to come down here. This is a very narrow valley. It's really, you never really want to fight, especially when they're turtled up in really narrow spaces like this. Even somebody like Best is going to have an almost impossible trying to break into this. EMP onto the Archon. You know, it was like one of the first things you think about when you got StarCraft back, 28 years ago, but you never really saw it in a pro game. We've seen it here, everybody.
Yep, I love seeing it. It's just so, it's the grossest efficiency that there is, really. But yeah, that's fantastic. He's still defending everything really, really well. Best supply is so low. I feel like for Leda here, if he just adds a few turrets in the center of the map, first off, if he had done that before he lost a huge amount of tanks, where he lost like 10 tanks at least, probably actually even more than that, I think this game would already if he just adds a few missile turrets so the shuttles can't keep bombing him and just does a dedicated push to the right side of the map, I think that's just the winning move, and Best isn't going to be able to do anything from there.
I want to point out, when you can tell there's like an insane number of workers over a base like this one here is when the shadows are really dark, like as if the sun is shining really brightly over that expansion. And that's because there's so many SCVs stacked on top of each other. The only way you can truly tell is by looking at how dark the shadow is. The shadows do stack.
Yeah.
In StarCraft 1. Got another great EMP. I think that hit all 3 Templars.
I think it hit 2 of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good correction. There's one that's still got a little bit of mana, but not enough to storm right now.
Yeah, still low.
And, this should be an easy closer.
Yeah.
I mean, with all due respect to Leda, I think a lot of other Terrans would have closed this out a little bit more clean, but I think he realizes he's in such a winning position. He's kind of approaching this very, very carefully as to not overextend and possibly screw this up. And I think we're going to see the very end of this game here. The 2 shuttles are shot down. The Templars are going to try their best to get the storms off, but when those storms are done, is there actually enough to fight this? I don't think so.
This has been really a magnificent game from Leda. This has been one of the strongest PvPs that we've seen. Like, just straight up. The fundamentals of it, the way that he's played it. Like, the fact that this opened with 1 base starport, and Best took 3 bases off 3 gates. It's like, wow, he got this game into this position. The guy took so many bases. I never thought he'd be able to win a big macro game like this. But Best was a little bit timid this game too, right? Like, he normally
FCR,
does a lot more attacking.
Vitality, 1 mana after each kill.
Like
That's a good rate. I'm actually just gonna put that on straight up.
Okay, we've got a big through here, and there's just not going to be enough. I can't believe the Best. That is, how insane of an upset is this?
This got FCR and teleport charges.
To me, this was unthinkable.
Yeah. And
another one.
Straight up macro game after the drops. Like, Leda played so well. He played so well there.
He really did, and
I almost want to buy both of them.
I don't know what to say other than congrats to him. I mean, he totally delivered here. The best game I've seen of Leda, and we've been watching this guy for 2 decades. Yeah, in a really tough group. I mean, one of the toughest groups he'll ever play in his career.
Yeah.
And he started out with maybe like a 5% lead, carried that to 10. Eventually, Best, it was his turn. Terms are done. Is there actually enough to fight this? I don't think so.
This has been really a magnificent game from Leda. This has been one of the strongest TVPs that we've seen. Like, just straight up. The fundamentals of it, the way that he's played it. Like, the fact that this opened with 1 base starport, and, Best took 3 bases off 3 gates. It's like, wow, he got this game into this position. The guy took so many bases. I never thought he'd be able to win a big macro game like this. But Best was a little bit timid this game too, right? Like, he normally does a lot more attacking. He normally tries to bust Terran a lot, but it seems like Leda's defense, like, really turned him off.
Okay, Okay, we've got a big push coming through here, and there's just not going to be enough. I can't believe the best. That is. How insane of an upset is this?
That's
Artosis?
an insane upset.
This
like,
is. To me, this was unthinkable.
Yeah. And that was a straight up macro game after the drops. Like Leda played so well. He played so well
really
there.
Did. He really did. And you know, I don't know what to say other than congrats to him. I mean, he totally delivered here. The best game I've seen of Leda, and we've been watching this guy for 2 decades. In a really tough group. I mean, one of the toughest groups he'll ever play in his career.
Yeah.
And he started out with maybe like a 5% lead, carried that to 10. Eventually, Best, it was his turn. He tried to make some moves. Leda shut him down. Suddenly, Best isn't growing fast enough. Next thing you know, the pushes are coming out, and Leda has some ungodly amount of tanks. Best is getting shut down here and there, and the result is Leda takes the game. To change things up, we're going to go to probably a much shorter game. It's going to be Queen versus Jaedong coming up next.
Oh, okay. Jesus, my ears. It's a shitter.
We're back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. On to a ZBZ, Artosis. Yeah, and the CBZ should be really, really good. Obviously, Jadong is historically the greatest Zerg vs. Zerg player ever to have lived. Queen has really excellent micro, decision-making tactics, all that stuff, so I think it's just like a close, good match. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. I'm also, I think I've talked about this in previous ASLs, but I've always wondered, is Queen going to come back in the way that he was before in previous ASLs? Because there was a period where it looked like this guy could usurp Flash. Yeah, I feel like for the last couple seasons he's been back in top form, but ASL is just harder now. Because he definitely fell off a little bit after his 2 victories and didn't play as well, and his games didn't look as good. But like if you look at his games outside of ASL, like if you watch his Pro League games and his KCM games and all that, he looks really good again. Like in my opinion, he's very strong. He's had some really good series too. Like remember, you know, when Best made it to the finals against Sulky, Queen almost eliminated him. It was like 3-2 for Best, super close series. So like he's been in really good shape again for at least the last year and a half or so. So or maybe it's 2 years now, but God, time flies in StarCraft. It's so weird trying to actually figure out when these things happened. But yeah, I think Queen is in really good shape. I think he is a potential contender, but there's a lot of big names vying for it this season. Yeah, you made a good point that like ASL's so big now, StarCraft's so popular. StarCraft's actually so lucrative as well as a streamer, especially with all these matches. So like, there's a big incentive structure for players to play and be in good shape, and viewership's there. So you're right, it is like a tougher landscape. One of the things, it's interesting when I see people kind of talk about what works in ecosystems and what doesn't. I'm surprised at how people don't understand how simple it is. Like a lot of people think that we should bring back protein houses. I'm like, no, those are terrible. No one, especially at this age, is going to be in a bunch of bunk beds playing on computers connected together. What you need is financial structures that allow players to thrive and grow while they're able to focus on the game. Yeah. And that's exactly what Soup offers as a streaming service to these guys, is they have tons of viewers who are very supportive. They're able to play competitive matches constantly. They have this centerpiece that is the ASL that everybody, even if you're just like a casual observer, will tune into to follow what's going on. And they've basically now built something that is 1,000 fucking...
Oh. 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 Oh.
stuff isn't around, because all these guys would just be retired. They'd be like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, there's definitely like a kind of Peter Pan story element, like the Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it makes me think of like when I would go to my friends' houses for like a week and we'd land there, and it would be, like I would drink probably like 15 Dr. Peppers and just eat cheese. It's like that was fun, but if you want to have like a real ecosystem where people are doing this endlessly, you need to have something that's a little bit more matured, which is what we've got now with streaming, with ASL, with the scene, and that's why these guys are able to keep doing it. So, Queen versus Jadon, guys, the second match of the night. Back to Octagon. Let's go. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I talking? Sorry.
Yeah.
We've got Queen in the top right and Jadong in the bottom left.
Huh.
Yeah.
No, I was looking and I saw that Jadong had picked red and Queen had picked pink, and they pop in a game, and of course it's on blue versus red. I'm like, literally trying to pick the closest colors you possibly can. Like, pro gamers will do that so often.
A lot of fans in the audience here. Sorry, Artos.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to.
Man is holding a sign. Here I'm saying very insightful things as a caster right now.
Jadong fan. Wow. Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
You know, Jadong, again, historically has the best CVZ ever. We saw his stats for ASL weren't as good. He hasn't done that well in ASL. And I've seen some translated videos of people talking about that where, like, he is, when you watch the stuff that isn't ASL, if you only watch ASL, you're like, I don't know, he's kind of mid-ish. Like, he's had round of 8s, but, like, that's about the ceiling for him. But if you watch outside of ASL, you're like, oh, he's, like, very close to Soma level, you know? Like, he's kind of similar in level if you watch all of his other games. So, like, for those of you who only watch ASL, you might look at the stats and be like, oh, his ZVZ doesn't even look that good. It's his lowest win rate in here. It's like, yeah, he hasn't necessarily had the greatest ASL performance so far, but we're in this very exciting season where Flash says it's his last. We'll see if that's the case. Bisu got top 4 last season and almost won. Like, he had Soma, like, on game 7 and lost to Ling All In, right? So, like, that doesn't count, right? So, like, Bisu's in unreal shape. Song has the best win rate out of all the pros in the other stuff they play. Like, we are actually in a season where the greatest 3 players of all time are all contenders to win. What in the world?
Yeah.
What? Like, this is the first time this has happened in Remastered.
Yeah. Yeah, all 3 of these guys are looking so strong. You know, there's something about that, I would say 2007 to 9, 10-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe 2009 if I was going to try to narrow it down. Here we're like, the pro players were so good. Like, and that's not to disparage everybody that came through. Obviously, you know, it had to start with, you know, somebody, right? And then, you know, the next generation comes, and then one after that, and the one after that. But I just remember, and, you know, this is around when we moved to Korea, Artosis. I mean, just watching what the players were doing and thinking, God, it's getting so advanced. How does it go? And those players for each race, Flash for Terran, Bisu for Protoss, and Jadong for Zerg, those were the leaders of the respective races, and the stuff they were doing was crazy. And it is exciting because in some ways that is a lot of times looked at least amongst fans, as kind of the golden era. And you know, it's all pre-StarCraft 2, and you know, StarCraft 2, it did a lot of good for esports and for StarCraft, but it also caused a massive hiccup in what was going on with StarCraft 1, because we had a lot of people switch over. There was a period where half of the pros switched, and then there was like a dark ages for StarCraft 1, and then we came back to this. But it's cool to see that those guys are looking so strong and could win, because it's going to be massive for ASL if one of them does.
For sure. And it would be so exciting if they could play each other in this tournament, because they have such a storied history against each other. Now, we have a little bit of an attack here from Jadong. He's microing really well. Almost slipped that one Zergling in, but didn't quite get it. And he will pull back, and it looks like overall... Oh, he does get one in. And this is Jadong, so that one Ling is still dangerous. He has to be careful, though. He doesn't want to lose these other Zerglings. And in fact, he doesn't even really have other Zerglings on the way, or he didn't already. So if Queen does counterattack, that might be a little bit dangerous.
All this trouble over a tattered book.
Yeah, Jadong's control really nice there. Queen as well. I mean, really great. Really hard to ever outmaneuver speedlings. Speedlings are some of the scariest things in StarCraft Brood War, honestly. You know, whenever you have something that's that fast, that can body block that well and deal that much damage that quickly, it's pretty scary. But the game's going to propel itself forward here. We're going to get to roughly even spire timings. Drone counts are very sparse, but I think Queen has slightly more. And he is going to have a creep colony coming up here, which could be a sunken colony. If he didn't want to make it a sunken, it could have been a spore, but it looks like, I guess a spore would have been further down, actually. So J-Dunk's going to try to come in again, and Queen's got a very masterful concave here.
Ooh, yeah, this does not look good for J-Dong right now. Even though he has a lot, like the sunken finishes up just in time. The arc was just really good there from Queen. Plus the sunken timing, it worked together perfectly there. So great defense there from Queen.
Yeah, Queen, I think, is looking pretty strong. Keep in mind, with the extra drones that are being made here, I mean, J-Dong is going to have to... Oh, no, hold on a second. I take it all back. He's making an extractor. So he's going to lean into mutas. I thought he was going to try to maybe force some kind of fight here. But he's going to be getting mutas of his own. He tries to dive in on one of those drones and doesn't get it. He gets 50 here. His control is so good. He's playing, like, the perfect game, honestly.
That was impressive, that drone save. I thought for sure J-Dong was going to get that drone and just could not quite do it. So he actually lost a few more lings than he really wanted to there, and he will pull back. That sunken is going to be pretty useful for Queen. Counterattacks, like little counterattacks of Zerglings, aren't going to be quite as strong from J-Dong, whereas they'll still have full strength from Queen, and that's because of that static D. So I feel like looking at this game that Queen might be... I don't know, like, do you think he might be slightly ahead here? It feels like he has a couple more drones, doesn't it?
Seems like it.
Seems like it.
The fact that they're in cross spawns adds a layer of complexity here.
Yeah.
Neither side has overlords on the other side of the map. And so, like, there's so much ambiguity. Like, if you leave your base with mutas, you could be counterattacked by mutas. That's one very easy way to lose in DBZ. Like, if you get halfway across the map and they fly in, they can kill all your drones. And even if you have more mutas and you fly back and kill them, they will have remade it. So both players end up getting kind of forced into these kind of weird, stagnant-looking games where they're kind of not doing a whole lot. The Ling Scout's going to come across. Now, if you see the group of mutas, that's going to prompt him to maybe leave, I think. Because he says, okay, there's that group of mutas. It's not like there's going to be, you know, a bunch of them. And you can always count they're going to be close in number to whatever you have. So if it looks like you see whatever you have over there, you at least know where they are. And then you can try to set up your position.
Yeah, this type of position does seem really hard to play from. And a lot of times you see a third base actually taken in games that look similar to this, because it's so dangerous to fly across the map. You know, even just the travel time. Like, they will have additional mutas pop out. So if you don't already have an advantage at this point, and the thing is, the muta advantage, like, we could have like a drone advantage or a Zergling advantage, but like it's more of a muta advantage.
Oh my
You don't
God.
already have a muta advantage. To fly across the map and attack is incredibly difficult. So I feel like this game we're probably going to see third bases. That's my guess. But J-Dong's coming across. He's looking very aggressive here, but I don't know that this is going to end up working.
Does he have armor or attack?
It's definitely not yet. It shouldn't be done yet. And they both have 11 mutas here, so full groups. In fact, Queen has one more, it looks like. J-Dong's micro so far.
Oh, I love that Queen this overlay just basically covers this fight where I have no idea what's going on. What is this? It's weird because the tile set in the temples looks like another picture-in-picture, so I feel like I'm going crazy. So, all right, now that we've missed most of the fight, who actually wins this? It seems like Queen has enough to basically chase this to the corner and execute it.
That's, well, it's basically exactly what we were talking about, right? Cross map, you're flying all the way over there, and wow, J-Dong actually makes a move where he gets around the Mutalisks. So it looks like he wants to counter. Actually, J-Dong can still pull this out because those 4 mutas got away. Like, if Queen had actually trapped those as you suggested, which I think he should have been able to, but he didn't. I feel like this game was much more likely to end, but suddenly J-Dong comes out here and the Mutalisk count very similar now. And he starts to take it.
Hold on. More mutas are going to come in here. And, I mean, I think Jaedong actually does barely have enough. The question is, can he snowball this? Scourge are going to come in here. Kind of a tough angle to dodge both of these. Can he flick shot these down? He has enough to one-shot him. He does very nicely. Jaedong's control is crazy. In honestly what looked like a losing game no matter what.
Yeah.
You got to remember, mutas don't have great sight, and Scourge are even much worse. And so I guess Queen wasn't able to track those down and get the execute on him. And now here we are. We've got the mutas over this area. If the mutas die here for Queen, the drones are going to go next. And after that, it's going to be the game.
That's crazy. I thought Queen had it after he won the first muta battle.
Yeah.
Whoever wins the first muta battle wins like 95% of the time or something. It's insane. So the fact that Jaedong like kind of outmaneuvered when he was running away and then regrouped and was able to kill all the mutas of Queen, and his micro has been god tier. Like I have seen him pick off so many Scourge. That's crazy. You can see how happy he is with that because he definitely got behind there for a moment. But that is old Jaedong there, where it doesn't even matter what's happening. He just brute forces his way through with skill. Damn, what a game.
That was a great ZVZ. Pretty bold move, too, to try to run in and basically take a fight over the patches. Let those glaives transfer down, maybe even onto some of the drones and get kills that way. And then it backfired. And just through maneuverability and dexterity, Jaedong got out of that. He wriggled free from what should have been Queen's killing blow, and then came back with some kind of crazy counterattack. Queen is going to be hurting from that. I mean, this is a day of, you know, not just some insane upsets, but some crazy games so far. And that was just game 2.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually true. Queen has to go down and fight best. He was probably thinking he'd be playing best in the winner's match, and here he is in the loser's match having to have that same battle. Wow. I tell you, Queen, I mean, he looked really good all game. It's just that I can't believe Jaedong came back there. It feels really rare to see comebacks in ZVZ.
All right, guys, Leda versus Jaedong coming up. Crazy night. Let's see if it gets any crazier. We'll be right back.
What is with this gay ass music? Nope. Nope. Oh my. No way, what the fuck? That's crazy.
We're back, everybody. What an unusual match 3 this is. Leda versus Jadon. You know, Leda played very well against Best. He won fair and square. We know we talked before that match started. That was kind of probably going to be some kind of early game rush, and it was Vulture drop. But it turned into a late macro game, and Leda did outplay Best. So who knows, dude? If Leda can just get one win against Jadong, he's going to be the first guy to go on to the round of 16 in this group.
And it's somewhat realistic. He's very good at Terran vs. Zerg, very highly technical builds. He's the best 2-port Wraith player in the world and has been forever since that became a real legitimate strategy, legitimate in air quotes. You know, it is still utilized